Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of The Average Pixel, and today we'll be looking at a few things that have been going on in the gaming world this week. The first bit of news I wanted to talk about was Disney on EA. In a recent earnings call to their shareholders, CEO Bob Iger said that basically they had a good relationship with EA and they were happy with progress they're making. I can't imagine this is really the case, but I imagine it's simply down to them not wanting to shake the boat. The reality is EA have not been doing very well with this property since they got it in, 6 years ago now? They've released two titles. Neither have really blown us out of the water, the two Battlefront games in question. The first one had no single-player campaign and got a lot of flack for that. They fixed that in the follow-up, but then they ruined it all with the whole loot box fiasco, which has just killed any love of the game since then. I have to believe that the real reason Bob Iger said what he said was that he simply didn't want to say in front of the shareholders, yeah, it's just all a bit shit really, isn't it? Which is never going to go down well, so I imagine in the background there is some dissatisfaction with what's going on. We still have 4 years left of EA running the Star Wars show. I really hope, and a lot of fans hope, that they don't get a renewal or an extension to their contract, and that Disney learn from this and don't give an exclusive license to someone and instead share it out amongst lots of different developers and give everyone a different go at it. And you'll probably find that you get much better results. LucasArts did this back, I think I saw, between 2000 and 2006. They punched out something like 25, 27 games, a lot of which were good Star Wars games, and it just works a lot better that way. EA have got a monopoly on it right now, and they're just not using it. The Star Wars license is basically a license to print money, and it's just not happening, and the fans aren't happy. There's rumours that EA aren't even happy with it because they have to share any wealth they get with Disney. They can't make any decisions on their own. They have to discuss everything they do with the Disney franchise, not the Disney franchise, the Star Wars franchise with Disney before they action it. And it might be that EA want out as well, so they can focus on their own first party stuff. On the plus side, Respawn Entertainment, the team behind Titanfall, have got a game coming out soon. It should be later this year, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be a really good one, because God forbid we need one. Respawn probably want one because EA have a habit of closing franchises that they take on, and nobody wants to lose Respawn. The Titanfall games are really good, particularly 2, and I hope that this is the turning point and we start getting some good games now from here on out. Next, we have news from Activision Blizzard confirming that the rumoured layoffs are now going through, with 8% of its workforce, almost 800 people, losing their jobs. Blizzard's esports and publishing departments are being hit particularly hard with this. All of this is despite investors being told that they had achieved record results in 2018. Despite this record year, however, Activision fell short of its projected targets. This is most likely due to the separation of Bungie, which happened a few months ago, and the loss of the Destiny franchise, which over the course of a financial year has been expected to cost them somewhere in the region of about $350 million. Other poor choices include putting Black Ops 4's Blackout mode, their version of Battle Royale, behind a $50 paywall with additional microtransactions on top. While a very well-reviewed version of Battle Royale, it hasn't gained the traction it could have if it was just a free add-on or a free standalone mode. This was only compounded by the recent release of Apex Legends by Respawn Entertainment, who dropped this game out of nowhere and have already got 25 million registered players in barely a week. Our thoughts and best wishes go out to those affected by the cuts, and hopefully they can find new work quickly. As someone who's been on the receiving end of losing their job in that way, it's never nice, and I hope that you find success in whatever you choose to do. To finish up today, let's go over something a bit more positive. Nintendo held their first big Nintendo Direct event of 2019, and it was a very good showing. I won't go over everything that was announced, but here are a few of the ones that particularly took my interest. My first pick, and also Nintendo's show opener, is of course Mario Maker 2. This is the long-awaited sequel to the much-beloved Wii U title, and is frankly a perfect match for the Switch. While the first title was a little bit hamstrung by Nintendo due to them rather aggressively shutting down any playthroughs that were on YouTube, now that they've done away with their partner program, which was very unpopular, and they seem to have learned from that mistake. We should be seeing a lot more of this game all over the place once it's released, which is currently earmarked for June. I cannot wait to see the crazy creations people come up with and the level designs that will come out of this. Next we have a new IP from Platinum Games called Astral Chain. This appears to be a kind of action RPG set in the future, and from what I can see in the trailer it looks like you can control two characters at once, the second being a sort of digital creature that you can summon from your wrist. I love the art style used to present this game, and the fact that it's from the team that created Bayonetta. It's all I needed to know that this game is in good hands, and I look forward to picking this up when it's released, which is currently slated for the end of August. Next we have Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now this is a game that caught my attention the most, as it just looks to be right up my street. It's a fantasy style RPG with a grid-based combat system. It looks to have a really in-depth story which you can really sink your teeth into. Visually it looks very impressive, and while I've never actually played a Fire Emblem game before, I will be picking this up on the day of release, which is currently slated for July 26th, so keep your eye on this one. And lastly, we have the big one. It's Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Nintendo couldn't have picked a stronger title to finish on. This was a masterpiece when this was released back in 1993, and I honestly expect this to be just as good. I honestly believe that this will shift a lot of consoles once this comes out. There's been some commentary on the art style chosen, some people believing it's a little too shiny, which I can kind of see, but overall I think the game looks really cute. And as long as the gameplay is there, I really don't mind how it looks. Unfortunately, we don't have an exact release date for this yet. We know it's this year, we just don't know when. I have to assume it's the latter half of the year, but it could be just that Nintendo are waiting for a good window with all the releases they've got currently going on. And as soon as something is announced, I'll be sure to put it on the channel. I just want to say a big thank you all for watching. This was my first ever YouTube video, so if you enjoyed it, please feel free to like and subscribe, and if you have any feedback, please drop them in the comments below. I haven't fully settled on how I want the channel to work yet, but I'm open to suggestions, so again, please drop any thoughts below, and I'll hope to see you in the next episode.